Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 12 of Dogs on Skates. I'm J Dog. That is Andy. And it has been a wild week in Canucks land. We took 1 week off. I headed on a little vacation, and my goodness, the things I was getting sent while on the beach was quite interesting. Um,
Yeah,
I don't know what's happening. But anyway, before we get into it, how you doing, Andy?
I'm doing all right. I'm getting by. I saw this morning the Canucks were described as newsy, and I'm like, that's a perfect word because it's just a non-stop stream of news coming out of the
Yeah,
Vancouver
you could
market
say
these
that.
days, and all fascinating and all like major implications on the future of this team. It's I don't even know where to begin.
Yeah. So I'm on vacation last week, and Andy Andy's like, "Well, I know we're just like two schmucks on a little podcast, but we have the president talking about stuff that we have been bringing up." And so I watched the video, and I cannot believe what I'm hearing. Jim Rutherford talking about like that Quinn Hughes has said that he wants to play with his brothers, and and that he's interested in or that some things are out of his control, but what is in his control is bringing in Jack and Luke Hughes onto the Canucks. And I was like, what is happening? Like, you never hear this kind of stuff. Yeah,
It's that alone. If that was the only thing that had happened in the last couple of weeks, it's
that's
it's
insane.
mind blowing. You
Yeah,
never hear like he's not a general manager, but any executive, president of hockey ops, you never hear them talk that candidly about things that us schmuck fans are daydreaming about and doing up mock draft or trade proposals. um but yeah, let's have a brief conversation on the likelihood and possibility or probability of that happening. Where do you put that?
oh man. Um, likelihood. I mean, I would say likelihood is pretty low. Um, simply because you don't see that kind of stuff happen hardly ever. I mean, the fact that the president was talking about it alone is unheard of. So it's pretty obviously it's extremely rare. So likelihood wise, I think it's pretty unlikely. That said though, I don't think that the president or the GM are interested in just like waiting things out and being okay, not like missing the playoffs, that kind of stuff. So I could see a big splash coming this summer. I dearly want a big splash or multiple big splashes on the Ford group. Um, and I think based on like what they've been talking about, and we'll bring it up here in a little bit, um, I think they're happy with their defense goaltending for the most part. I think the Ford group is the main thing that they're going to try and reconstruct. So, I mean, who knows? They have pieces. They've got Tom Willander. They've got Lekrumaki. They've
Oh,
got
they don't really have him yet, do they?
well, they've got rights to those to Tom Willander. I mean, yeah. Um, and you have Elias Pettersson that is obviously still a trade piece as well up until July 1st, where it becomes a lot more difficult. Um, so you could, but there might be a situation where the Devils are just interested in waiting, especially with some of the other things that came out a couple days later. So, anyway, before we get to that, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, that's exactly it. You mentioned the Devils waiting, and they really hold all the cards in this one because Quinn was
Yeah.
drafted first. He hits free agency first. He's going to get to choose where he goes. All he has to do is wait,
Yep.
and it's completely within his control. 2 summers from now, he can choose wherever he wants to go. And if his brothers are both in New Jersey and he wants to play in New Jersey, it's a done deal. And
Yep.
there's not a thing Vancouver can do to stop it because you can't even offer him all of the money because there are 31 other teams in the league who would give him the same money that you would give him
Exactly. Yeah.
without hesitation. They would move whomever they needed to off their roster and pick up, leftover guys off the waiver wire to fill out a roster if it meant getting Quinn Hughes. There's not a
Legit. Yep.
doubt in my mind. So, to my mind, the Devils hold all the cards here. So, if Vancouver waits, if Quinn Hughes is, making overtures that he's likely to leave and play in New Jersey, and this is horrifying to say because I just bought that jersey, but I think they have to move him.
So I bought a Bo Horvat Canucks captain jersey. I don't know, less than 12 months before he was traded. And the reason I bought it was like, okay, this is the one guy that is nailed down to the floor. He's not going to go anywhere. And that
I might have
didn't
gotten
happen.
2 games. 2 games.
Oh, also, so the next thing we're going to get into is the coaching stuff. So, Bruce Boudreau, you you are in contact, I guess, with Bruce Boudreau through what's that app called?
Oh, it was like Cameo
Cameo.
or
That's right.
yeah.
Um,
No,
well
he
then.
wasn't the Canucks coach at the time.
Oh,
I see
okay,
where you're
okay,
going
okay,
with
okay,
this.
okay.
The Andy curse. But no, he was no longer the coach when I got him to send that video
Oh,
message
okay.
for my
Well,
son.
never mind then. I was thinking it could be quite useful. Then, if we got a coach we didn't like, we just send you to the coach, and the coach will then be gone.
Right? Just dress me up like a Make-A-Wish kid. Yeah.
Oh man. Well, we're probably putting the
Oh.
cart before the horse here. But anyway, needless to say, Rick Tocchet a couple days ago, news comes out that he will not be returning to the Canucks. He cites like kind of personal reasons, time for a change, family wanting to be back on the East Coast, that sort of thing. But yeah, it's a tough look.
Let's be real. The team is a dumpster fire right now with all the drama and things going on.
Yeah.
I think if the team was winning, if there wasn't all the drama, I think he's perfectly happy to play in
I think this
Vancouver.
year took a lot out of him.
Yeah. And the fact that if you read between the lines with what everybody says that you hear coming out of Vancouver, it sounds like Petey's attitude is a significant part of a lot of the problems that the Canucks faced.
Yeah.
Tocchet did everything he could to try to reach this guy and help him move forward, help the team move forward, and he just couldn't get him there. And now it cost you Miller. And I think he's looking at this and he's like, do I want to be saddled with this guy and meddling ownership and all the rest that comes with being in the Vancouver market? And he went, you know what? I can go out east and not deal with any of it, be
Well,
closer
and
to family.
there's so many good jobs out east right now. Like
Oh,
the
for sure.
Rangers one obviously just got taken by Mike Sullivan, but you had the Rangers, you have the Penguins, you have the Flyers, you have the Bruins. Like that's a lot of good job opportunities back in the area he wants. So
Yeah. So I don't blame him at all,
yeah,
but I think the writing is on the wall that they kind of because they ponied up financially speaking. From the sounds of it, they offered him more or
yeah.
less what he was indicating he
Which I
wanted.
was honestly so grateful for. Like
Yeah,
the fact that it wasn't ownership getting in the way, saying no, we're not willing to pay you, or
yeah.
management playing hardball. Like the fact that they gave him like kind of everything he wanted and he still went the other way. Okay, whatever, it happens. But there's been a lot of blame I've been hearing going towards management for Tocchet leaving and how bad
Management
of
or ownership?
management.
Oh, okay.
Well, ownership too, but I'm specifically management, and that's something I'm like, I don't think this is on management. Like they did everything they could. They said you're our guy, and they didn't implement the 1 year option because you don't want to like force a guy to be there. So like as far as I can see, they did everything they could. Now you go to plan B, I guess. But I don't
They did
really put that on management.
They did everything they could short of trading Petey.
Right.
And if that really was the issue in the room, on the team
But like
with,
that can still happen.
yeah, but that was the opportunity to do it when you were like, do we trade Petey? Do we trade Miller? You want to make sure you keep one of your all-star premier
Yeah.
centers in the fold, and they chose Petey,
Yeah.
right? Maybe you don't get in return for Petey what you think you should in that trade, but I don't think they got for Miller what they thought they should. You
I
just
mean,
ultimately have to take the best thing that's available sometimes and eat a bit of a loss.
there's a very good chance though that Tocchet also goes if they trade Petey and keep Miller. Like, there's something that went down between Miller and Tocchet that doesn't sound like he was overly friendly after that benching. Um, and it
The
would not.
benching or the hiatus that he took.
Well, the benching that, like after the benching and prior to the hiatus, which was like a 6 hour
Mm.
period. Um,
Yeah.
um, so I don't know. It's his decision. Like I think it's partially a personal decision on preference, and partially he is absolutely burnt with this team and potentially with the market as well in terms of just like how much scrutiny you get when your team is losing. That's part
Mhm.
of the gig, but it like will do a number on you.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going to play or coach in Vancouver, you got to have a pretty thick
Yeah.
skin. And
Yeah.
yeah. And I think Tuckett does. Like, I think that's something that he could work through. I think it was just a culmination of all of those factors together, combined with the opportunities that you see for vacancies back east,
Yeah.
that makes it pretty compelling.
And two, like even in their exit meetings, Rutherford was talking about that they were like having talks about the assistant coaches and the plan for the summer and all of these things. So I think the belief was he was coming back from like
Yeah.
management to fans. Um, it would not surprise me if Rick had a conversation with his family that led to a change in like a changing his mind. I don't know.
Yeah. Yep. I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
Um Staying on
But
the oh,
the drama doesn't stop there.
which direction are you going with the drama? Because I want to
I'll
stay on coaches a little bit.
I'll let you go with it. Go ahead.
Okay. To continue on with the coaching drama, we got a oh so brief series of uh, I don't know if I would even call them rumors, but daydream potentials with the Lightning's fall to the Panthers.
Yes.
People wondered about, is that going to shake John Cooper free
Right.
from Tampa Bay? And then the thought was, well, then the Canucks have to back up the Brinks truck and offer him the sun, the moon,
Oh,
and the
you
stars
certainly do. Yeah.
to bring back the not only BC guy,
Yeah.
but the Prince George
The
guy.
lawyer from Prince George.
That would have been very cool. There's an outstanding coach with a lot of success on his resume.
Mm-hmm.
But they've also announced now that they have every intention of having John Cooper back for next year. So,
Yes.
which makes
So
sense.
the rumor, the predominant rumor there was that he was going to go coach Utah because he's got a personal friendship with the owner of the Utah Hockey Club and potentially the Utah Mammoth. Hint, hint. I think they're kind of hinting at it, and they've changed some of their YouTube stuff and then switched it back. I don't know what's happening.
Don't
It's.
know that I love that, but
Have you seen the logo?
don't need to. No, there's been one like mocked up or
Yeah, and honestly,
okay.
I
I'll
like
just
it.
put it
Yeah, right
up
there.
there.
All right, so there it is. Now you see it. What are your thoughts?
Okay. I like it quite a bit. It is, and I don't exactly know why. I'm not a graphical person, but it is evocative of the Kraken and their
Yes.
kind of vibe, which I think worked for everybody. I think
Yeah,
there's not a lot of people that aren't a fan of the direction the Kraken went with that.
totally.
So I think that's good. I think that's a winner. I think Yetis would have been so much better.
Yeah.
Um,
So
but
they tried, but the mug turned them down. Yeah.
which is weird. And again, not a trademark lawyer or anything, but my understanding was that it had to be in kind of a an adjacent sort of industry. Like you had to actually, there had to be the possibility that when you thought of the one, it made you, think of the other instead. And
So
I don't know about hockey and mugs.
the idea is that if one product is having negative press, negative connotation, that it affects the other one.
Right, but
So
but then are people really so um dim-witted that when you talk about the Utah hockey, the Mammoths are stinking, or sorry, the Yetis are no good, that people really go, "Oh, that must mean my cup." Like,
I think if you talk to the marketing team, they put a lot into subliminal messaging, and I think that's where it would have an impact, or that's where the belief is it could have an impact.
I think either way, it was going to result in tons of legal stuff that was going
Yeah.
to tie things up for years. And I think they probably, at the end of the day, just, and I'm very uneducated in this area, but I got to think that there's enough distinction between those two products and markets and industries that they'd be able to make it work.
Well,
But who wants to wait that long? They want to start selling jerseys. They want to start building
yeah,
a brand there. So,
it feels like a perfect sponsor. Like it feels like just like shake hands and do it together, guys.
right? Yeah.
But anyway, we are completely sidetracked.
Oh boy, are we ever? Who cares about Utah,
But
man? The
hey,
Canucks are on
we're
fire.
we're not the only ones that are sidetracked. Is there anything else you want to talk about
Jeez.
coaching? Because I am giddy to get into these comments by Jim Rutherford.
No, let's move on. Bye talk. No more Rick Sockets.
Oh, I'm gonna miss his post games more than anything. I
He
learned
oh,
so much about hockey just watching his post games.
and he was just honest and engaging, and you got the straight goods from him, and it was so refreshing. Um, yeah, I'll miss him. Probably one of my top three or so all time Canucks coaches. But
Yeah,
yeah, best of luck to him in, I assume, Philly.
yeah,
Although I'm going to be
Pittsburgh.
so fascinated to see. Last thing I have on Rick Tocchet. One of the criticisms is that his style stifles offense. Right, that when he left Arizona, they started to be able to score again.
Right.
I am super curious what happens in that regard in Vancouver
Yeah.
and with the next team that he takes over.
Yep. I'm
Right.
totally with you. And I think that is the silver lining is I was nervous to go too defensive. Obviously, we just watched LA not have a lot of success on sitting back on leads.
Ugh,
Um
break my heart.
um so in the silver lining, I'm like, okay, well, if we can get more of an offensive base coach, we already have, I think, pretty solid goaltending, pretty solid defense. If we can get an offensive styled coach, or at least a style that encourages more of an offensive push, then I mean, I would like to see it, but I'm definitely gonna miss Tuck.
Yep.
But anyway, so that happens, and then naturally, Drew Rutherford, because he loves to talk and be. I really appreciate this. He is so candid and truthful and honest to a fault, but man, is it like entertaining. If you don't care about what's going to happen, it is so very entertaining. Anyway, here is Jim Rutherford.
Have you had a chance, Jim, to talk to your captain and knowing how he felt about Rick? I think most of the players felt as Quinn felt about Rick. Do you worry about what their long-term ramifications would be with him wanting to stay?
Yeah, well, I hope he's playing golf because he usually returns my calls right away, and I called him within a half an hour after I talked to Rick. So He hasn't called me back yet. Knowing how he feels about the coach and that he's a sensitive guy, I would suspect that he feels like I do, that we're disappointed. But knowing the maturity of Quinn, he will make the adjustment necessary. But they did have a very strong relationship, a very good one. And Quinn had a lot of respect for him.
Thoughts?
I don't think it's quite as spectacular a quote as maybe you do. That Quinn Hughes is a sensitive guy, probably not news. That's a guy who takes things pretty hard and wears his heart on his sleeve. I think it turned out that he was in fact playing golf, and that he says his phone died or something.
I thought, and we'll have to verify this, I thought he put a Instagram story of a picture of him at a Knicks playoff game to kind of be like, I am right here.
Well, I think somebody else posted from that game and tagged him in it or something.
That's what it was. Okay.
I'm not entirely sure. I don't know. What does Quinn Hughes really want to talk to Jim Rutherford about in that moment? If I had a supervisor that I really loved and my managers let them move and go do something else, and now I'm left with uncertainty and what kind of slack-jawed yokel is going to come in here and be my new boss, I'd probably have some feelings about it. And if I'm at home on the weekend and my phone rings and I see it's them, I'm probably not picking up the phone either. Like he's a young guy, he's a human. I don't care.
And two, especially like in sports and in hockey, there is this like we are in this together, or like band of brothers kind of mentality. When your leader just decides to leave and kind of abandon, can be the feeling, like the guys really feel that. Reading Brian Burke's book, he left, I think it was the Ducks team, as the general manager, and they felt that. Like, this is your coach, and this is a guy that you have like absolutely like shed blood, sweat, and tears for the last few years, played through all kinds of crazy things, I think have like a great relationship. And he got offered the world and he just kind of said, nah, I'd rather not coach you guys.
Yeah. It would be a pretty painful thing, I think. And so I don't blame him. I don't blame him for being like, no, I would rather not deal with this. This year's been a dumpster fire. I'm trying to enjoy the start of my summer. Nothing I say on this call is going to. And then, sometimes when you're just in the middle of your feelings and then somebody comes along and wants to try to manage those feelings, that can just be the last thing in the world you want to deal with.
Especially when it's your boss.
Yeah. So I don't need 97-year-old Jim Rutherford calling me and asking me how I'm doing and if there's anything he can do to help. Like, no, just how about find me a coach who wants to be here?
Yeah.
That'd be a good start. Maybe find me a center who wants to be here and is gonna bring it every game. That'd be a good start, Jim.
Yeah.
Maybe make those phone calls.
Unreal. Like the things he says though about like bringing up, like I tried to call Quinn in the first half an hour. I hope he's golfing. Like, what are you saying?
And then it makes me wonder, like, is that part of kind of laying the groundwork to the fans that maybe Quinn's, maybe he's got an attitude problem, maybe he doesn't fit in so good around here.
I don't think Jim is quite that level.
I don't know. I
don't think so.
I wouldn't put it past him, to be honest.
Because this is the guy that said he needed to shut his mouth a little bit like 2 years ago. Do you remember him saying that?
I don't think it was 2 years ago. I think he said that multiple times.
I think it was during the last coaching saga that happened with Bruce. I think he said, like, I just need to, shut up a little bit sometimes. So I don't
Yeah.
think this is because he's extremely tactful John Cooper lawyer speak. I think this is just a guy who's very honest and says what he thinks. And in Vancouver, it is like throwing a like absolute cannon or grenade into a dry field and watching it burn.
Yeah, that could very well be. I always read a lot into these things. I think that you don't get to that level without being very calculated.
You
And
don't
so
get to that level without have building relationships. This is
yeah,
not a
but
guy who came up in the NHL currently. This is a guy who came up in the NHL in the 70s, 60s, something like that.
yeah,
I do not think that this is posturing on his part. I think the Globe and Mail was posturing. I think that was intentional. I think this was him just like having a brain fart because he's old and
I mean,
saying stuff he shouldn't.
honestly, it would be an inexcusable brain fart if that's what it was,
That yeah,
because it's tainting Quinn Hughes. It's painting him in an unfavorable light.
yep.
And as we've talked about previously on this show, the one thing that the Canucks had to make sure to do was keep Quinn Hughes happy. And if
But
you're taking shots at him and a little bit in a roundabout way at his character in a public way, that's not doing that.
But Patrick Alvin has never done anything like this, right? He's never diminished other players' character before.
Yeah, but that's where you've got that like old guy plausible deniability
Yeah.
where people can just go, "Oh, well it's Jim Rutherford. He always talks like that. He's old, he's senile, whatever."
I'm being sarcastic because of the Brock Besser thing that just happened.
Oh, well, yeah.
They're like, Patrick, maybe let's not do that. Okay, Jim, you're up. Oh no, that was so much worse.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Maybe it's rubbed off on Alvin a little.
I think
little
they're just
too much.
they have a plan. They're very honest, and they don't know how to talk to like big media. They'll talk to Penguins people, and Penguins like Pittsburgh people are like, yeah, what's happening with the Steelers and the Pirates, and then the Penguins, right?
Yeah. I don't know.
So anyway, it was interesting. It made for very entertaining the last couple weeks. And
Okay,
then
put your money on it right now. I want to know, since we're talking about Hughes before we move on.
Mhm.
Start of next season, start of the season after,
Mhm.
start of the season after that. Is Quinn Hughes a Canuck?
Quinn Hughes is a Canucks start of the season. I think Quinn Hughes is a Canuck start of this season, start of the following season, and starting the season after that. I think this will die
think
down
he
a bit.
resigns?
I think that they'll bring in a coach that gives them a coach bump, because any coach they bring in gives them a coach bump, it seems. I think their defense is the best it's ever been. Their goaltending is if Demko can be 3/4 of what he has been, combined with Lankinen, some of the best goaltending that Quinn has ever seen. And I think that they're going to make some big changes up front this summer, or at least I'm really hoping so. That I think could have them right back in a playoff picture. Like, I think the sky is falling for a lot of Canuck fans right now. I don't think
Can confirm.
I don't think that's necessarily how it will be start of season. It might be. It might be. They're really good at having disasters one after another. But I could see like an avenue here where they're able to make changes up front and everything quiets down. They have a good start to the year. And last year was just an anomaly. I mean, I could also see the opposite. It could go either way. Maybe this is just my hope speaking, but I can really see an avenue here where they're not nearly as bad as they were at the back half of this past year. What do
Isn't
you think?
J-Dog's optimism just delightful? Um,
It's
so
infinite.
I tried to convince myself that the idea of Quinn Hughes sticking around is a likely outcome, and that the talk about him playing with his brothers is just like an eventual thing, right? Like maybe after they sign their big money deal and they go after it with their team, that as their careers are winding down, they want to spend a couple seasons just playing the Hughes boys, right?
Mhm.
In their 30s or whatever. I tried to convince myself of that. Um, but then that comment from Rutherford about, maybe trying to trade for the Hughes brothers implies to me that there's a sense of immediacy there.
Yeah.
And that's my concern. And that could be just a poorly worded comment from Rutherford
He's
as well.
never done that before. Come on.
Hardy har har. But yeah, I think unless there is such a major shakeup that changes the team culture and the dynamic, and I think they need to see more out of the ownership. I think they need to see a willingness to spend. Like Tocchet even mentioned the lack of a practice facility, like in the final
Yeah.
days of his tenure with the Canucks. And part of me goes, well, these are professional athletes. They shouldn't need a cushy facility to spend their time and train in. Like skate in an old rat infested barn with a sheet of ice and just go do it. You paid millions of dollars to play hockey. Just go do it. But at the same time, I'm I'm a human, and I think to myself, if I'm considering two employers and one has an
Mhm.
amazing gym facility in the basement and they have, a massage therapist that's going to come to my desk and give me a neck massage, and they've got a chef who's going to prepare my, like, come on. Come on. What guy isn't going to want to go to the place that makes him
Yep.
feel like a superstar every time he shows up to work?
Yep.
Like,
Exactly.
so to
There
my mind, that sort of thing is almost as important as all of the other factors we're talking about. Like the ownership of the team needs to step up and say, "Look, we're going to do literally whatever it takes
yeah.
to build a winner. We're not going to be the laughing stock of the league in terms of our facilities or what we're offering our players. We want to be like the best of the best."
As far as I know, they're doing like their video stuff in like UBC classrooms because they don't have a video room.
Like
Like
if that's true, that's embarrassing.
yeah.
Like truly.
Yeah.
I hadn't heard that, but that's awful. I know they use UBC a lot of times as like a practice facility, and they actually, I think, tried to work out some kind of a formal arrangement to do something bigger
Yeah.
on some of the UBC land. That didn't work out, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Just sell the team to Chip Wilson. That guy's got more money than God, and hopefully he's a big hockey fan.
I know, because we don't need like
Oh,
the Orca group where they're in Seattle and do not even care at all about the Canucks. Like that would be not good either. Maybe worse.
yeah.
So to go with that, rumors come up a couple days ago that the Aquilinis are interested in selling the Canucks, and oh man, did I get excited! Nick Kyprios reporting that the Canucks are potentially looking to sell the team. Um, Satyar Shah looks into it, says that he doesn't find anything to that. Then a few other people, I think Patrick Johnston, look into it and say, "Well, I have heard some stuff about this. I think there might be something to this." So we'll see. I mean, I
Well,
think
there's something came out this morning. Did you not see that?
I did not.
So Paolo Aquilini, one of the Aquilinis, um, is stepping away from the Canucks. So the
Oh,
Canucks is owned by the Aquilini like family,
yeah,
effectively, but it's sort of Francesco's plaything.
yeah.
But Paolo is stepping away from the team. He's no longer involved in the Canucks ownership. I don't know if it was just trying to get away from the drama or what.
Interesting.
He was probably getting a lot of calls, right? If Francesco's not answering questions, well, you go down the list,
Yeah.
right? Who's the next Aquilini? So he's stepping away, but he also said on his way out that the team is, quote, not for sale. So it could
Okay.
be that the rumors they heard was that Anne Aquilini was looking to divest from the team, and maybe now we've had that. So I can't see Francesco selling. I think he loves owning the team. He loves having access to the players and hobnobbing around, Yaletown and whatever. But yeah, I don't think it's going anywhere. I think the team has exploded in value. He enjoys that. Makes him feel like a big shot, and I don't see that changing.
But I think they've taken quite a few hits to a lot of their other businesses with the downturn in the economy. So yeah.
Yeah, but then you'd sell those businesses.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. So that's that. But Jim Rutherford was not done. He sends out a letter to the Canucks, and have you had a chance to read it?
To the fans. Yeah. I sure did.
I should say to the fans. So, I mean, a lot of it is fluff. You can tell that like HR and all of their people definitely...
We drafted something for you, Jim.
Yeah.
If you want to make any changes.
This was Jim Rutherford writing out what he wanted to say and then putting into ChatGPT and be like, how can I say this as a president of an NHL club?
D. Rutherford eyes this.
Exactly. Now, a lot of it, there's not a whole bunch to it, but one thing is, he specifically says, he talks about like the defensive part of the team and how he's happy with how that's built. He talks about the goaltending and how he likes how that's built. He talks about how specifically Captain Quinn Hughes, it says, we've also seen strong leadership emerge under Captain Quinn Hughes, whose maturity and dedication have set the tone both on and off the ice. So a little bit of gassing up Quinn
Tire
Hughes.
pumping.
That's right. The big one is the very first sentence on the second page of this 2-page letter, saying this offseason is important and our players have been directed to approach their training with increased urgency and intensity to ensure we start off on the right foot next season. PD, have you read this? PD, are you sure you heard me? PD, I'm going to put it in a letter to the fans now just to make sure you heard me.
Yeah, there's like reading between the lines. This is like one of those Mad Magazine kind of fold up things where if you fold the letter just right, it's just a picture of Rutherford like kicking Petey right in the ass. Like friggin' do it.
Oh,
which
man.
leads perfectly to the fact that apparently Petey is now back in Sweden, having stayed one entire extra week in Vancouver, during which apparently he trained quite hard. So problem solved? What are we doing? Trade him. Trade him. Trade him. Trade him. Trade him.
Trade him.
Trade him.
Unreal. Yeah.
Philip Hedl, you are now a number one center. Congratulations. By default.
Oh, hopefully
Teddy
you come back from your
Bluger?
concussion.
Teddy Bluger, second line.
Jeez.
Nils Oman, third.
Oh, Atu
Ratu,
Ratu.
4.
Atu Ratu.
Ratu, 3. Yeah. Woof.
Yeah. So
big moves coming.
I hope so. Like, maybe is this just trying to like pee him off enough that he's like, okay, fine, I want to leave. I'm so sick of you guys.
Yeah. I don't know, but I'm super over it. And yeah, give me a guy who is just rock solid attitude, effort, production.
Yeah.
I know it's not going to be a 100-point guy. I don't care.
Yeah.
I want a guy who's going to give me 70 points every single year, but play with heart and grit and go through a wall for his team.
Yeah.
Give me a couple of those guys.
Totally with you. Give me a bunch of slightly more skilled Connor Garlands and Kiefer Sherwoods and Drew O'Connors.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, if we're trading Pedersen away, ideally we're able to get either a current or a future, like, really good player, first line player. But
Yeah.
who knows?
And I think you add Tom Willander to that mix because I don't know what the deal is there, but it's super weird.
Yeah.
And I really don't care if they trade him. I'm super happy with the Canucks defense.
Yeah.
And between DPD and Mancini, like we've got good young guys that are ready to rock right now.
And apparently it's over like signing bonuses and like, or performance bonuses.
Yeah,
Which
and I
is
think
so
it's like
strange.
$200,000.
It's so strange. I don't understand it.
It's the weirdest thing. So I think if that's not just a perfect, glowing, easy relationship, I think he still has so much value out there that you move him, that probably gets you a second line center. Move Petey and however that has to look to get you a first line center. You sign Nick Ehlers to replace Besser, and I think you're kind of right back there. So
yeah, they need to have a big summer. They need to have a very big summer. And that starts with, and kind of the last thing I want to talk about with the Canucks is kind of how we're feeling going into the summer now. Like, what are we looking at? What do we want? What do we want out of a head coach? That sort of thing.
I'm excited going into the summer because I think for the first time maybe ever, I am absolutely 100% convinced that there are some home run swings coming. This isn't like we're gonna nibble around the edges and try to improve like at the margins. This is like we need like some core pieces.
Or we're gonna go get Jake Gensel, swing and a miss. We're gonna go get, I can't remember some of the other guys they were looking after. Like, it felt like one swing after another after like the Hurricanes trade. Nope, that didn't happen. They're going to trade Brock Besser. Nope, that's not going to happen. Just one after. Yeah.
Shohei.
Yeah.
Soto.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. So, and I mean, this, like, the claim to fame for this management group is they make huge deals and they make them early and they make them often. We haven't seen that at all. Like, unless you're calling like a Daniel Sprong deal to the Kraken for future considerations a deal. That's not, in my opinion. So, yeah, you're going to need a big summer. But coaches, who do you want?
I don't know. I don't know who's out there that would be available that I would feel better about versus like Manny Malhotra.
So Manny Malhotra, Peter Laviolette, Pete DeBoer, Jay Woodcroft.
I would certainly have a sit down with Pete DeBoer. Laviolette
feels like the wrong guy for this type of this team. Feels like it's kids that have a brain and have a heart, and Laviolette, I think, is a coach for a bunch of like brute men that are just there to be brute men.
Yeah. I'm nervous about just handing it to a guy like Malhotra who hasn't, his head coaching experience is not profound.
Yeah.
I think he's doing a fantastic job in Abbotsford. I think that's one of those home run kind of swings, right? Where you're like, we're going to trust it to a young guy who's got some different ideas maybe, and see if he can generate some life and some momentum in this group. I don't know. If I had to choose right now based on what's available, I'd probably roll the dice with Manny, but now you're having to replace someone in Abbotsford, and Abbotsford has been such a source of strength for the Canucks, having every guy that come up be as solid as they've been. You don't really want to jeopardize what's going on there by taking away what's driving the bus.
If we don't promote Manny, then some other team will come promote him to their team.
Yeah, there's that for sure. So And usually, I'm sure he's under contract. I don't know what the status of that is, but typically it happens that if a team is interested, then they ask the Canucks for permission, and then if the Canucks don't grant permission, then now Malhotra feels
Nope.
stuck and trapped by the Canucks, and then it gets kind of ugly.
No. If they're not like granted permission, if they're offering a promotion, the Canucks don't have a say in it. The Canucks cannot deny a promotion.
I think that depends on the contract. I think that's a negotiated clause in the contract, though.
I don't
like a
think
no
so.
trade.
We'll have to look into that, but I don't think
Yeah.
so. I think that's how it's actually like, that's how the rule works. As long as you're getting a promotion, the team you're on can't stop you.
I don't think that's a rule, but we'll see.
Yeah.
But in any event, I think maybe Malhotra's worth a shot. You certainly don't want to lose him if that is true, that another team could scoop him. I think you got to give him a shot.
Yeah.
See what he can do. I think the team would certainly listen to him. Oh, maybe he would help with the faceoffs.
Yeah. Jay Woodcroft is the name that was brought up by Jeff Merrick as the one he would think would work the most. And the reason being is you need a guy, this is according to him, you need a guy who knows what it's like to coach in the chaos, who like Jay comes from like a family of coaches. Essentially, coaching is very much a part of his whole being. He's one of the top like coaching like theologians in a way, and like John Cooper and Paul Maurice. Supposedly, this is just coming from Jeff Merrick. But having a guy who knows how to coach in the chaos in Canada with superstars, and has an incredibly good record as coach, and his players went off offensively. Like that, the Oilers team had a bunch of players break personal records when he was their coach. So I mean, feel pretty gross having the former Oilers coach come over to Vancouver, but I just wanted to bring that up. That was his suggestion. So
yeah, I mean, that would not excite me a great deal.
Yeah.
As worse options, I'm sure.
I would take that over Laviolette. Definitely.
Yeah.
Laviolette
I would take it over them running back the Tortorella experiment.
I mean, I was just going to say Laviolette feels like the slightly better Torts option.
It definitely has Torts vibes.
Yeah.
No thanks.
I would, no. Okay. I would personally vote Malhotra or DeBoer.
Yeah.
All right, welcome into the dog park. We're going to be looking at some playoff stuff, but before we do that, I think Andy got something he's a little fired up about.
Not really all that fired up. I mean, I oversold the rant the first time around, so I'm not going to make that same mistake. But there is something that bothers me so much when I watch playoff hockey. J-Dog, I loaded up a picture for you to see. We'll put it on the screen now. Take a look at that. That is the last Winnipeg Jets home game.
Yep.
Now, you see the two Jets in the playoff circle there. What color are they?
They are wearing their dark blue home Winnipeg jerseys. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And what color are the Blues wearing predominantly?
They're wearing their white away jerseys.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
What is every single person in the crowd wearing?
There is a full whiteout going on in Winnipeg.
How does that not look like the entire crowd is there supporting the Blues?
It looks like it. Yep.
It drives me insane.
Yep.
Look, Jets, ownership, management, whatever. I know white t-shirts are like a little bit cheaper than than dark colored shirts. But my goodness, do a scarf or something if you have to.
I'm gonna fight you there.
No, you're not.
The whiteout in Winnipeg is my favorite crowd thing in the playoffs every single year. It is the thing that I look forward to when Winnipeg makes the playoffs, is watching the absolute chaotic whiteout that happens in the Winnipeg Jets arena. I love it. But
Awful.
I am with you in the sense that it looks like you're cheering for the away team. You flip it. You have the Jets wear their white, and you have the home team wear their darks, and everyone is happy.
The away team with the darks. Yeah.
Sorry, yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. 100%. And I think Pittsburgh has done this, where they've had their dark jerseys and the fans have all worn the light jerseys. It's such an awful cheap look to me. I love the uniformity. I agree with that. There's nothing better than when a crowd is just like a blanket sheet. I think it's awesome.
And white, I think, is the best form of that. Like, I was thinking if you were to go like red or orange or green, it's just not quite the same.
The Sea of Red in Calgary worked.
That's true. That's true. But it's not the same as a whiteout. Like, it's awesome, but it's not quite the same.
The whiteout works, especially because you're kind of leaning into the whole Winnipeg's a frozen wasteland sort of stereotype. I totally agree, but you have to match the team on the ice. I'm with you. It's awful.
That was a good one. That one was better than the last one. I like that one. That one it hits home for me too, and I love the whiteout that they do. But yeah, I think you switch the home jerseys.
Yep. Excellent.
I'm
glad I got you on board with that
one. Okay. Now, for the other part of our dog park, we're going to be going through our brackets and touching on each series ever so slightly. We can start with Andy's bracket here. We have the Winnipeg Jets and the St. Louis Blues are playing in Game 7. As we record this is Saturday morning, May 3rd. It's Jets Blues playing Game 7 tomorrow on Sunday, and we have Stars Avs playing Game 7 tonight. So we don't know the results of those quite yet, but we'll just start off Jets St. Louis in a few thoughts. How you feel about the series? What have you thought about it?
I keep trying to remember who I picked coming out of that series. Who was it?
I will share screen and we will be able to see.
I think I figured that one was going to be close. I mean, the Jets came out as, President's Trophy champs. The Blues had that big winning streak before they lost a couple.
And they are unstoppable at home. It's unreal.
Yeah. But oh my goodness, did playoff Hellebuck ever show up recently?
Last night? That was unreal. He collapsed. Wow. I saw a meme video on Instagram about they got a whole bunch, like 20 different like hockey balls and pucks and stuff lined up, and they've got the dog in the net, and the dog is zoned in on one specific ball, and the guy is firing he fires like 20 past him, and the dog just doesn't even
flinch. Yeah.
And he's like, this is Connor Hellebuck when he enters the playoffs. Yeah, my goodness. And you listen to him talk before the game, and he's talking about, I think it was before Game 5, the game that they won. And they're asking him just, questions, like questioning him essentially of his abilities, I guess, and that sort of thing. He's like, I have studied my position probably more than anyone in the world. So yeah, I think I'll be ready. And then 2 games later, he's just letting everything is beating him. It's like, oh my goodness, this is full Jekyll and Hyde. It's unreal.
It is. It's it feels almost inevitable that he's gonna get beat.
Yeah.
And that's awful feeling for him, for the Jets. I really do hope that they can pull it off. Yeah.
Who you got tomorrow night? Or Yeah, tomorrow night.
The Jets are good at home, and they'll be at home, so I think they will pull it off. I think they have enough firepower up front. I think Ehlers and Connor, and I don't know, was Scheifele in last night?
He
I
was
didn't.
not.
Okay. Well, maybe, yeah.
I
I
think
think the Jets will do it, but they're going to get a scare.
there's something like 1-7 in the playoffs without Scheifele. So
Yeah.
yeah. I also think it'll be Jets, but it might even come down to overtime. Game 7, I could see.
I could see this being even a multiple overtime one where both teams are
That'd
just.
be so fun. That'd be so
Yeah.
fun. Stars Avalanche. Oh, interesting thing, Jets Blues. The first series to start the playoffs and the last to finish round 1.
Interesting.
Yeah. All right. So the Stars Avalanche.
I think we all agree that series needs to go to like best of 21.
Yes, definitely. It has been so fun. So very fun. And the Rantanen drama has not been as big as
Yeah.
as it could have been. But he's still like playing a part, especially down the stretch here. He's playing a bigger and bigger part of the series, and it has been so fun.
So many good storylines in that one.
Landeskog. Oh,
Yeah. Guys just getting points in bunches. Like two of the Stars tied the record for points in a single period of playoff
jeez.
hockey with four points
That's
in a period.
crazy. Wow.
Yeah. Just wild stuff coming out of there, and I am here for it.
No kidding.
I do still think the Avs are going to figure it out there, though.
Yeah. So, the Avalanche, I think it's Jared Bednar, is winless in Game 7s with the Avalanche, I believe.
Oh.
Pete DeBoer is undefeated in Game 7s, and they're going to be at home. So I think he's like 0-7 or something, or 7-0. So, and I believe the Stars and Avs have played, and I should have these stats like more solidified. But the Stars and Avs have played each other. I think it's 3 or 4 Game 7s now in the last few years, and the Stars have won every single one. So the odds are against the Avalanche, though the betting odds are still for the Avalanche. I believe it's, last I checked, it was 171 for the Avs on the money line and 220 for the Stars. So I too have the Stars, or sorry, the Avs winning this series. But it's gonna come down to the wire here. We'll see.
Yeah.
Next we have Vegas and the Minnesota Wild. There we go. Vegas with a bit of a scare there at the beginning. The Wild able to take games 2 and 3, and were, I think, leading in game 4. And I think parts of game 5 as well. But Vegas able to battle back and win it in 6, which is exactly what Andy had predicted. So the nice double points there. I also had Vegas in 6, so I also get the double points there.
Boo.
And
the biggest heartbreaker of round 1.
Yeah. Oh, and the Wild, Boldy, and Kaprizov went off that series and still sadly couldn't win, but they had crazy amount of points.
I saw a tweet that Judd Brackett, when he was with the Canucks, really wanted Matt Boldy when we made I think it was the Pud Colson pick.
Oh,
yeah, we could have had Matt Boldy and Dylan Gunther in our top 6 right now.
Oh, my heart.
Womp womp.
Oh man, that hurts.
Thanks, Jim.
Jeez.
Yeah, that's rough.
Okay,
boy,
try to forget
Pud
that.
Colson is embracing the Oiler lifestyle, and I am not here for it.
No, I am not either. Kings Oilers. I was at game 1 in Los Angeles. And my goodness, was that game crazy. It started as we were about to enter into the building. I see a guy running down the line of people giving high fives with a camera running behind him. and then he swings back over, and I make sure and pop out, and it's Will Arnett. So I make sure to go and get myself a Will Arnett high five heading into the game, which I thought was pretty
Dang.
cool.
Very fun.
Yeah. But yeah, so that game one was crazy. Kings went up like 4-0, like in the first half of the game. And then the Oilers made it 4-2. Kings made it 5-2. And then the Oilers battled back. Connor McDavid plays one of the best games I think he's ever played, puts the team absolutely on his back, and they're able to tie it up 5-5 with like a minute and a half to go. And then the Kings, with like 40-some seconds to go, get this like knuckle puck pop over Skinner and win the game. That place absolutely was rocking when that last goal went in. It was insane. Kings take game 2, Chase Skinner, and then Pickard comes into play, and all of a sudden the Oilers somehow are able to start scoring enough. I'm not sure how that correlates.
Is that an official reverse sweep, or does it have to be 3-0? I think it's still a reverse sweep.
I think so. But
Yeah.
Jim Hiller, Kings coach, makes the absolutely terrible coach's challenge decision. That obviously gets like denied. And then the Oilers are able to get the power play and score 10 seconds into it. And that is the beginning of the end for the Kings. Next game, they were up by a goal, empty net. The Oilers have an empty net, and Byfield attempts to just skate the puck around Bouchard rather than chip it out. Bouchard strips him of it. They score. They win the game in overtime. And the Oilers...
That felt like the backbreaker.
That was the backbreaker. The Jim Hiller one let the Oilers off the mat a little bit, and that was the one where they fully got back into the fight, and that was it. It was like the Kings had them. The Kings had them dead to rights with either of those games, and they... immaturity, couldn't finish it off. It's pretty unfortunate, but the Oilers are through.
Sad for Andy's bracket.
And Jordan's bracket. So Andy, you had them going to the second round and then losing. And I had them going to the second round and losing. So still looking quite equal so far.
Sorry, who went to the second round?
We both had the Kings going to the second round and losing.
I had the Kings going to the third.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
My bad. I didn't see that. Okay, so a little extra hit for Andy there.
If you recall, I said whoever came out of the LA Oilers series was going to take it to the Golden Knights. Now, I'm really hoping that that's not the case now. As you know, I've been a Golden Knights fan for a very long time.
Me too.
Okay, the East. Now, this is where Andy shines, apparently.
Okay, Leafs, Senators. Leafs go up 3-0, are feeling great, feeling like the Berube effect has completely changed them, and then they lose game 4. And then they get swept in game 5. And oh no!
And then they start leafing.
Oh no!
Everybody gets nervous.
Midnight has struck, and we have turned back into the werewolf. The Leafs are able to win game 6 and put away the Senators and the fears of all of the Leaf fans, and move on to round 2. Now, Lightning.
They just got done facing Brady Tkachuk.
I know. And now, thanks to the Panthers doing exactly what they did last year and winning 4-1 over the Lightning in a series that had a bunch of suspensions in it, the Panthers get through in 5 games, and it will be Leafs-Panthers. Again, the only team that the Leafs have played in the second round in this giant stretch of time where they haven't made it. The only other time is when it was 2 years ago, they played the Panthers. They lost in 5 games. So we'll see what happens this time around. But
Andy's feeling good about that quadrant.
Pretty sure it's going to be a battle. I think it's going to be a fun one. We have Capitals and Habs.
Wait, did you have Florida coming out of there as well?
Oh, sorry. I did. I had the Leafs coming through, but I did not have the Panthers. I had the Lightning, and
that's what I thought.
Horribly fell on their face.
Sure did.
Yeah, so I had Leafs in 7. So you got it with the games. You had Leafs in 6. You nailed it. But I did have Leafs, and then I had Lightning in 7. That did not happen. I had Leafs. Yeah, sorry. Lightning just going to the second round, and then Caps Habs. I had Habs going all the way to the finals, and beating the Caps in 7. That did not happen. Um, the Capitals took care of the Habs in 5 games, so even sooner than Andy thought. And they make it through to the second round. And the Hurricanes Devils, a series that had multiple double overtimes. Each team takes one of those, and the Hurricanes get through also in 5 games. So it will be Caps and Hurricanes in the second round. And
Never would have happened to the Devils if they had Quinn.
Or Jack. Or Luke.
Well,
they didn't have any Hugheses playing in most of that series. Like Luke played 1 or 2 games, and then he was hurt for the rest of it.
That was brutal.
Yeah. I nailed the bottom one. I had Hurricanes in 5, so got that at least. But yeah, it's looking tough for my bracket right now.
Andy's starting to love these bracket challenges, everybody.
Thinking I might have to retire here pretty quick. Other interesting note, the Minnesota Wild, the first team in all of the 4 major sports to make the playoffs 8 out of 10 years and lose in the first round every single time. Yeah.
That's tough. That is super tough.
There has been... It's interesting watching the playoffs as a Canucks fan with no team in it and be like, oh, okay, because I felt like the most tortured fan for a while, and now I just saw the Kings lose in the first round to the Oilers for the 4th year in a row, and the Wild lose in the first round for 8th time in the last 10 years. Whew.
Yeah.
So,
that's brutal.
Yeah. And I'm seeing Connor Hellebuck turn back into Swiss cheese every playoffs. Yeah, so that is that, and it'll be a very fun couple game 7s coming up, and then I think a very entertaining round 2. For me, I am greatly looking forward to Vegas Oilers. I think that's just gonna be a really fun series. I think Leafs Panthers also going to be a very fun series. Not as interested in Caps Hurricanes. I think that would be the same for a lot of people. It'll be very interesting what comes out of the Central Division with possibly the Jets Avs or Jet Stars or Blues Avs or Blues Stars. Lots to be decided there yet. So,
yep.
Yeah, that is that. Is there anything else you have for the dog park before we head to the draft?
Well, I did have some interesting, potentially depressing stats that I just wanted to run through really quickly.
Oh, fun. Yay.
First of all, first depressing thing, J-Dog, is if you can take a look at this picture and just scroll down a little from the last one there.
Oh.
Here we have Thatcher Demko, who's, who knows what his future holds. Besser, gone. Miller, gone. Hughes,
question mark.
Petey's broken. Lindholm, gone. That team, I'm just going to break your heart here, J-Dog. That team was 33, 11, and 5 at the break. That team finished the year 29-0-1 when leading after 2. They were second in the league in goals against at 2.55. Demko was right up there in goaltending. At the break, Miller, Petey, and Hughes all on pace for 100-plus points. Besser had a shot at a 50-goal season. If you recall, early in the year, they thumped the Oilers 8-1 in the first game. Besser had 4 goals, which after that game, he was on pace for 328 goals for the year. Mighty impressive. A few weeks later, they dismantled the Sharks 10-1. Hughes had a 5-point night.
Oh, I remember that one.
And then there's this year. Nobody over 80 points. Hughes had 76. The next highest Canuck had 50.
Is it DeBrusque?
There's a I don't even care. So Hughes led the team by 26 points, which is the second largest gap since or behind Carlson in 2022-23 with the Sharks, where he scored 101 and Logan Couture had 67. So here's this is nuts. Okay. The Canucks finished the season this year 18th in the overall standings for points. They were 24th in regulation wins. They were 23rd in goals for. They were 31st in shots for.
Good Lord.
They were 23rd in faceoff percentage. They were 22nd in games that they won when leading after one. They were 28th in takeaways. So
I'm dead.
here's so how did they even end up in the middle of the pack? Well, they were dead average in goals against. They were dead average on the power play. Okay, that helps you get to the middle of the pack. They were third best in penalty killing, only 1% behind the Canes, who were first. They had the second fewest giveaways. But what they did give away was leads. They were 30th in terms of protecting leads.
And
they
wins.
had the third most losses when leading after one, the third most losses when leading after two. This isn't going to be hard, but can you name the two teams that were worse than Vancouver in protecting leads?
The Sharks. And the Blackhawks.
Correct. 2 for 2. Next to those two absolute dumpster fire teams, the Canucks were the worst this year at protecting leads. So.
Come on.
So I say all of that to point out that the fact that we were still sort of talking about playoffs towards the end of the year and not talking about the draft lottery is insane. And super lucky. Because really, based on how the team performed, like kind of underlying numbers and everything else, we probably should have been a bottom 10 team.
I mean, it would have been good. Then we could have had a draft pick.
Yep. So.
Oh, geez.
Sorry, I started diving into stuff because somebody brought up that picture from the All-Star game with 6 All-Stars, and I'm just like, how good were they all doing at that point last year? And it was unbelievable. And then, of course, I'm looking at stats, so then I'm like, how far did we fall? Oh my goodness.
So, like, if we have to take a silver lining from it, my hope would be as players that you're in that funk for 9 years, basically. There was a little bit during the bubble, but that was just weird. Then you experience insane success last year. And I wonder if players just like, okay, cool. Now we got a good team. Now we're going to be good. And then you absolutely fall on your face. Is that a bit of a lesson in, like, you can't take anything for granted? Just because you're a good team on paper does not mean you're going to be in the playoffs. Is there something there to be, oh, okay, I learned about how quickly this can all fall apart, and I need to make sure that I never take it for granted, the success we're having and the work I need to put into it.
Yeah, I think that's a huge takeaway, to not take anything for granted, not assume that because you had success one year, you're going to have it moving forward. I mean, there are cautionary tales abound in that regard. Look at Anson Carter. That guy scored a bunch of goals with the Sedins, and I don't know why I dunk on him so much. I just think it was one of the greatest bag fumbles of all time, where he thought, I'm just this incredible goal scorer, and I'm going to do this every year from now on. Oh man, maybe it was your line mates. Just maybe. Like,
And
don't take for granted that it's always going to be the way it is right now.
there's lots of examples of players like having that kind of experience. I feel like it's more rare to have teams have this kind of rise and fall.
Yeah.
So hopefully they can learn from it. Hopefully management is able to make some significant changes in the offseason. I think a real shakeup at forward and some good like puck luck, essentially, that we like better than what we had probably in overtimes and that sort of thing will help definitely. And
They had all the puck luck last year
I
and
know,
very little this year.
bringing in a coach that hopefully it's going to be hard to beat Tocchet, but I mean, if they can bring in someone that bring in a defensive, structured coach and like an assistant or something like that, something like Adam Foote, and then have a head coach that's a bit more offensively inclined. I think in this modern day, like the Rick Tocchet style would have worked even 10 years ago to clamp things down. You're going to like Nashville made it to the finals playing as a team that absolutely locked things down once they had a 2-0 lead and you could not score on them. That's not how the NHL works anymore. Those kinds of teams, that it's not successful. It's too fast. It's too unpredictable a game now to
Got to keep your foot on the gas.
Yeah, you have to, and you need to like take it to your opponent one way or another. And so
that's what was so glorious about the first half of last year was that they were just relentless, just wave after wave after wave of pressure.
So we'll see. Lots of question marks. That'll be interesting.
One big question just before we wrap this up. I just want to know if you're the Canucks brass and you're talking to Quinn Hughes and he is letting you know in no real uncertain terms that he's going to Jersey. What is your appetite for a full tear it down to the studs, trade everybody with value and term, and rebuild through the draft? What's your appetite for that sort of thing? Because the Canucks have, as far as I know, they've never done it.
I'm not huge on rebuilding through the draft because I think you can swing and miss on the draft too easily. Olli Juolevi, Jake Virtanen, Podkolzin, on and on and on. It's too easy to swing and miss through the draft. I think draft capital is really important, but you need multiple, like, it's not the quality necessarily, it's the quantity of swings, unless you're getting like McKenna or
unless
like
you're truly bottoming out.
Like if you're going the Leafs and actually fully bottoming out, sure. I think this team has too much talent to fully bottom out like that. It's gonna...
I mean, it doesn't trade all that talent.
It doesn't make sense to get rid of all of the talent just to try and get it all back.
Yeah.
But I do have an appetite on, especially when you have the defense and goaltending where it's at right now. If Quinn Hughes says he is for sure going to Jersey, then I think you try and just make the best possible deal with Jersey you can. And you like do your best. Again, 2 of the 3 aspects you have, and probably the most important aspects of your team, are good.
I don't think you would trade him to Jersey, though.
I think you have to.
No.
Doesn't he have a full no move?
Oh.
You don't have a choice. It's the Miller thing all over again.
Oh, man. I don't know. I feel like there's a chance Quinn Hughes wouldn't completely screw you on this one. He might accept a trade to another team, in which case you're going to get much more out of a third-party team getting a year or 2 out of Quinn Hughes than you are from the Devils, who know that they can just wait it out and get him for nothing. Like a trade with the Devils, people are talking like maybe you get Heischer and something, and people are like, no, we're not going to give you a Heischer. Like you're not going to get anything. We're going to get this guy for free in 2 years.
I also don't know how like set Quinn is on going to Jersey necessarily. He just said he wants to play with his brothers. I don't know what his appetite is to play for the Devils.
Maybe he signs another 3-year kind of bridge-ish deal with Vancouver until his bros hit free agency, and then they all sign somewhere.
He's super young, and he's the oldest.
So yeah, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. My last point One new thing happening with the draft lottery on Monday, the first time ever, and I don't know if you heard about this or not, they are switching up how they're doing the draft lottery. Previously, they would flip the cards, that sort of thing. You find out who won. This time, they are doing the actual draft lottery live in studio. So, like the actual, like ping pong balls rolling out of the chute live in
Oh,
studio. So you actually see it happen,
that's a
which
blast
will
from the
be.
past.
Do they used to do that?
I'm pretty sure. I
Oh,
remember there
okay.
being ping pong balls.
So they're actually like doing it live in studio again.
I love that.
I am very happy with that. And it's like, oh, NHL, you did something cool that the fans are wanting. Awesome.
Yeah.
That seems so very rare. So I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to that. And it'll
Nice.
make, if they do that for the McKenna one, that will be very good television. McKenna is insane.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Okay. That wraps that up. And we're going to finish off with the draft. All right. Welcome into the draft. Today, we are going to be drafting summer activities, best summer activities. And we are going to toss it off to Andy for the coin flip to see who goes first.
All right. We have J-Dog,
Hey,
pick number 1.
let's go. Now, decision time. One of my favorite things to do in the summertime, and it's something I'm going to be doing next weekend, is camping. I'm going to be heading to Fino for some camping next weekend. So that is my easy number one choice.
Wow. How completely predictable of you.
Indeed.
Okay. I've got such a good one, and I don't really want to take it as my first pick.
Ooh, now I'm going to hunt for it.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe I will take it. Just because this
Yes.
is
I forced his hand.
this is a hockey podcast, so I'm being a little bit cheeky here, and I'm saying technically Stanley Cup final game 7 typically occurs in the summer.
You're going specifically game 7. Wow.
Because
Okay.
when summer starts, that's really the only thing you're going to get. You might get
Yeah.
a few games of the finals, but the rest of it's in late spring. So technically, Cup finals, game 7 counts as summer. And I still remember vividly driving home from work on the afternoon of the 2011 Stanley Cup final, game 7. It was electric.
Yeah.
That feeling in the air, hard to top that.
Yeah.
It didn't last for long, but it was pretty special. So
it's a good pick. It's a good pick. And honestly, it actually gives me a new idea for my second pick, which I'm grateful for.
Shoot.
Because I think you actually took the lesser of the options. For me, it is going to be free agent frenzy. July 1st free agency.
That's sad because it's still my pick.
Oh, it is. I knew that was going to happen at some point. Oh, shoot. All right.
Oh, that's glorious.
Take it. Go ahead.
So my second overall pick is free.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Oh,
No,
okay.
it's not. I won't do it. I'm just going to go old school. And I think this is distinct enough from camping that I can get away with it because it's not usually part of camping. Well, it's always part of camping, but I do it separate from camping. And that is
campfires.
Sitting by a campfire.
Yeah. I think that's fair.
Campfire activities.
Yeah, I think that's fair. It's not exclusive.
Well, I guess in that
camping.
case, it's not a camp. It's like backyard fire pit.
Right.
Enjoyment.
Yeah. Yep, that's fair. Okay. Free agent frenzy. That's my easy number 2 pick. I love that day more than trade deadline, I think, because it's active no matter what. Trade deadline can be very disappointing.
It has to be.
Free agency is just fun. It's trades and free agent signings and stuff. So it's one of my favorite days. I love that day. Plus it's Canada Day. So it's like
Yeah.
it's an extra awesome day. I love that day.
Yeah, you got the day off, you're at the
That's
park
right.
or the lake, and you're just periodically checking.
That's right.
And,
It's so
and then you're
good.
like, hey, hun, so-and-so just signed. And they're like,
Yeah.
oh, great.
That's exactly right.
Like, J-Dog's going to love this later. I don't know.
After a while, you're like, hey, J-Dog.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. So it's the best. And usually it's all done in the morning too. So like you can just watch and get like an absolute fire hose of information and then go to the lake or something later that day.
One of the few benefits of West Coast living.
Yes, it's true. Okay, so that's my number 2 pick. My number 3 pick is one of my favorite things to do actually when I lived in Prince George in northern British Columbia, and that is float the river. I absolutely love floating the river. It's one of my favorite summer activities. So that's my easy number 3 choice.
I've only ever done it once, but it was pretty great.
Oh, like
I will
sometimes landscaping, getting off work, it's plus 32 and you just head down to the river and you float in the river for like an hour and a half with a nice bevy in hand and maybe some music playing. Oh, it's the best.
Yeah. And I imagine if you get like a good group of people and you all kind of tether together and
Yeah.
just have a real
or just another person you want to just like hang out with for an hour and a half, go float the river. It's extremely pleasant.
That's what I did, but then I got kind of bored and I'm like, it'd be nice if there were other people.
Didn't go with the right person apparently. That's where you need the music to kind of fill the silence a little bit.
It was lovely. I'm just being sarcastic.
I hope it wasn't your wife.
No.
Oh, no. Good.
And that's why it wasn't very good, honey. It was disappointing, and all I could do was think of you, even though we hadn't met yet. You were in my head from the start. Please stay with me. Okay. Number 3 for Andy. I'm going to go with we call them like pool days, where we have like family and friends come over and we fart around in the pool, play basketball, we float, we play games, we have the barbecue going.
Nice.
And it's just chill.
Heck yeah. That's a great one.
That's number 3. Number 4, I'm going to say outdoor amusement parks.
Oh, okay.
Like the bigger the better.
Okay.
I lived in Calgary for the better part of a decade, and they have Callaway Park just on kind of the outskirts of town. And we used to get seasons passes to that place. So we would go on the regular.
Nice.
And there's enough rides and games and food places that it was just a great time. So
love it.
Yeah.
Not on my list.
Amusement parks.
It's a good
Specifically
choice.
Outdoor ones, of course, because it is summer. I like indoor wintertime amusement parks too. But yeah.
Awesome. All right. Just to confirm, those are both your selections. It is now my selection. Right?
Oh no, what have I done? What have I done?
Oh, nothing.
Yes.
I will be taking, and this is very biased towards my interest, but a nice crisp morning, 6:30, 7 a.m., sun's shining, the steam is coming off the lake as the sun's hitting the water, and you have a bunch of fish surfacing. Is getting out for a nice fish, whether it's like in a kayak or in a boat or fly fishing from shore. It's always a good time. So summer fishing at a lake, river, but specifically a lake is what I had in mind. And my last selection will be a morning like cup of coffee, for me a shot of espresso on the balcony or porch in the sunshine on a nice Saturday morning. It's hard to beat.
There's way too many morning things, man. I don't know.
I don't do anything else with the rest of my day. I just look forward to my mornings, apparently, in the summertime.
Well, I'm going back to bed.
Yeah.
My day is done. Okay. Fishing and gonna call it morning coffee.
Yeah.
Morning coffee outside.
Nice. Yeah, that's good.
A little better, but okay. And my last one is probably realistically my number one, but I was just really banking on J-Dog not taking it.
Yeah.
And that's
Baseball?
softball.
Yeah, I figured. I just like
Yeah.
haven't been a part of a league, so I'm like I feel wrong. It's probably one of my favorites, but I haven't really
Yeah.
done it, so
I look forward to it every year, and every year I'm disappointed that our season is so short up here. We have like part of most of May and June and like half of July.
that's
And
it,
that's
hey?
it.
Man.
That's it. Yeah. So that's always a little bit disappointing, but I got a new glove for this year. I got a new
Hey.
bat last year. So not that either of them helped me at all, but
So you're an equipment guy.
yeah. Well, no, I would still be using my 30-year-old glove, except all of like the like bindings where it touches my skin have all split and now they're all sharp and
Yeah.
uncomfortable. But yeah,
Pull
it
your
was
hand out and
floppy
it's
and
just gushing
awful
blood.
and pretty much. I would still be using that glove though if it wasn't hurting me. So not an equipment snob at all in that regard. But yeah.
Awesome.
So that's pretty good. Those sound like a couple of pretty good summers.
Sure
They're
do.
very, very specific to both of us. Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to a lot of those summer activities coming up soon.
Yeah.
Wanted to finish on like a happy note after the
Well, I just want to throw I want to throw an honorable mention as well to a very fun activity that J-Dog introduced me to, and that's disc golf.
Yes. That is a very good honorable mention.
He took me out disc golfing. I was immediately hooked. Now I have way too many discs. It's kind of ridiculous. I'm still no good, but it's turned into something that I really enjoy doing with my son as well.
Awesome.
Which is good because J-Dog left me. But yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Not
He
much
doesn't
you
even
can
feel
say
bad
to
about it, people. He's just happy as a clam over there.
Yep. All right. Well, I think that wraps up everything for the show. If you liked it, if you liked it,
do the YouTube things.
Do the YouTube things. Tell everyone about it. No, thank you for watching, and we'll catch you all next week. Peace.
Peace.